Hello and welcome to my first PvT guide video. In this video we're going to be going over one of my replays of a 2-gate Stalker pressure with a single proxy gateway. The goal of this build is to deny the natural expansion of the Terran, or at least force it to the high ground and contain them on one base as long as possible. Otherwise, if they're overly greedy, you could potentially just kill them. So here we're just going to make our standard 14 pylon. Where you put this should be wherever you normally put your first pylon against Terran. On whatever map, this isn't really the correct spot, it's just a spot. So we send our probe on pylon, and this is going to be our proxy probe. So this build is especially good on maps that don't have a ramp directly linked to the natural. So a map like Triton is not the ideal map for this build, though it's still possible to execute. I may show better maps or worse maps later on, but for now we're just going to stick to one of the newer maps. So here, as we can see, we have not been cutting probes this entire time. We got our gas when we had money without cutting probes, and we got our pylon when we had money right after without cutting probes. So very important to not cut your economy while doing this build. So still, we're going to see that we have constant probe production here. We're going to get our second gateway, and this is going to time out so that both of these will be done when our cybernetics core is done. So we'll be able to start 2 Stalkers right away, and we'll have 2 Chronos as well. So after the first Chrono, we're just going to save energy. This is the next important part of the build. So this probe, we scout after this gateway, and this probe scout looks like a gateway scout on one base, so it shouldn't throw them off too much. But what we're looking to do here is see the gas and see if they're going for one base for a 1 Rax expand, which it looked like he was. And we want to take his gas here. And what this does is it simplifies the game for the Protoss. So this just limits the amount of options that the Terran does to counter you, and that makes it easier for you to respond to possible counters. So we see he did not put his base down. So as soon as we see this, we kind of know that this opponent is respecting this play. He kind of knows what's going on. I think he SCV scouted us, which means we now have to take economic advantage of his lack of expansion. So we've now decided, after we saturate this base, we're going to expand right away. And there's no longer a reason for this probe to be on the map. So we're going to chrono both Stalkers, and we're going to send our probe home. So all we know right now is that we have his gas, and he is walling off on one base. If he does not make a bunker, he's basically gonna die. But we really just want to expand. And once again, we see here his Reaper found our proxy. We've cut workers on one base saturation, and we've only built 2 Stalkers. As we can see on the units tab, this is all we have. And we start our Nexus, and now we want to poke up his ramp and see what he's got going on. So no matter what, we expected this bunker to be here, not necessarily in this location. Usually there's a barracks and the bunker goes here or something. But we do see the CC, and this tells us that his aggressive options are more limited now. Of course, he could still push us, but we know that he's going for some kind of more economic play. Next, we see that his Reaper is targeting our assimilator. So this Stalker can go across the map, and we don't even need to build a 3rd Stalker. So you can see that I've canceled the 3rd Stalker here. As we know, he has no threat potential at all with this Reaper. So we get our Twilight now that we know he has no threats. The Twilight also You don't need a robo if he's not going to go for Cloak Banshees, and it's very unlikely that he goes for it with this gas steal, since, you know, Starport, Factory, Cloak, Banshees, all of those cost quite a bit of gas, and it would be a very big gamble from him to do that. So we don't need a robo for a while. For now, we're just going to make probes the entire time, and poke up this ramp to scout as much as we can. So I think in this game I actually thought this was a starport, which would delay his first factory unit quite a bit. But okay, I probably saw it then. That it was barracks. But you just want to poke in and scout. Now we've seen pretty much all he's got. Although this isn't indicative of much, but this is. The fact that he has an eBay and a turret building right now just says he doesn't have a lot of aggression coming my way, especially when I poked up the ramp and only saw a single Marine shooting at me. So this made me decide that I could take a third base right now. So very important, do not always just take a third base on 2 Stalkers, which is still all the units I have. Make sure you understand why I'm able to get away with this, and why you might be able to get away with it in the future. So as this gas is dying, we're going to need a robo in case he goes for Cloak Banshees, and it'll also keep an eye on when he's coming out. But for now, you just need to keep making Stalkers so that he can't push out with tanks and Marines, which is the only thing you're really scared of. But as long as you're already on his side of the map, that's not the scariest thing, because you're able to kite him all the way across the map. You're able to have plenty of time to build lots of shield batteries. So here we see he still hasn't landed his third. We still have basically no production, but we're not scared because we know he's not coming. As a result of seeing this missile turret, that eBay, and just the lack of gas that he had for a while. So even though we only have 2 gateways, as long as we're warping in constantly, we're going to have enough of a unit count to counter any potential attack that he has. See that we fully saturated the minerals here, and we're only really looking for minerals at this point, since that's the easiest way to take advantage of your economic lead. We went double forge because, once again, he has no aggressive options, and we're just able to get away with it. But now we definitely need to add gateways in case he does do a big push. Like, because he hasn't cleared me out yet, I figured like it has to be some kind of stim timing or something. Or it could even be Banshees, which is why I have this robo coming. Like, it's just very weird that he never made an attempt so far. We did see the tank when we poked up there, so I'm not sure why he's not just sieged right here. Maybe he's scared I have an obs. Obviously, we don't. But we have 3 base mining against 1 base mining. And we have 1-1 going, and just constant pro production is the key here. That poor Stalker didn't need to die. So we see his army, like, even though he has stim, he has no medevacs. And this was once again a result of him losing his gas. I'm not saying that taking the gas just wins you the game, but it's just a good thing to have. Like, this could still be done if he had medevacs. It's just, you might need to delay these forges a bit more and get these gateways quicker to have more units in case he does decide to push across the map. Here, of course, he doesn't have that option because he doesn't have medevacs. And Marines can stim all they want, but they're not going to get across the map with more than 5 HP if they don't have medevac support. So we have observers on the way, we've added a bunch of gateways, and we're just kind of waiting to see if he wants to take a third. which I think this is actually his natural command center that we see here, but the observer will tell me. Yeah, you can take a fourth if you want. At this point you really just need units. A warp prism would be good to just backstab in case he goes to attack, but I was kind of aware that this opponent was slightly lower rated than me, so I kind of knew that if I just made a bunch of units and waited, I would eventually just hold the attack that's coming. But oftentimes it's good to get a warp prism in this situation, just to disrupt their economy when they decide to move. For now I just have a bunch of gateways coming. I didn't even bother starting 2-2, because I was kind of low on gas. I forgot to saturate these. You can poke and make him feel a little bit more urgent about his situation. As you can see, we have full map control here. Bit of an overextension, but we're just making a bunch of units at home. We have 1-1 finished. I don't think he even has upgrades. Yeah. The worker count is significantly higher for me. And we know that if we just make units from this point, we're gonna win the game. So I think I just group up everything here and wait his attack. Now it's still important that you don't just wait here for him to siege up on you and kill you. Whenever you're fighting tank compositions, it's good to just send some units forward to know where they are. So as we see here, I intended one of these guys to go through here so that I don't miss anything, but luckily they spotted it anyways. And I just said I have more than what you have. So I will now A-move you. Of course, this is just what happens when you've been this far ahead for this long in the game. And that's how you win a PvT. Now, once again, the important things to note were the scouting after your gateway, and just poke around, see if he's going for this. And if he's going for this and he doesn't have a bunker here, he will not be able to hold it from constant stalker pressure. And if he's going for a bunker here, then you have to try to take economic advantage by expanding faster and denying his base with stalkers. So whether you need to build more stalkers or less depends on what the unit situation is when you poke up this ramp. So you may be able to get away with 2 stalkers. You may be needing 3 stalkers if he sends his Reaper across the map and you miss it. Or, you know, if you think he's going more aggressively for units here and trying to just brute force his way down with Marines. Yeah, the main thing is to just be on the lookout for stuff like that. Thank you for watching. I may upload replays of this build some more on other maps to show you different situations. But for now, that is all.